Brian's not coming? No. Everybody's here that's coming? Yeah. All right. Another minute. Yeah. 6:30. Are we live now? All right. Good evening, everybody. I'll call our regular public council meeting for Monday, March 4th, 2024 to order. New business, Councillor Tepper.
Don't think I have anything.
Okay, don't think. All right. Councillor Manning?
I'll pass.
Pollard?
Pass.
Mr. Goss?
Pass.
Deputy Mayor?
Pass.
Holy moly. Just got it, thanks. Okay. So, did you want to get on our Q&A? I know that these people already have a presentation book, but... Yeah, no? Okay, perfect. There's no emails? All right. Could I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you very much. We have a set of public council minutes from February 19th, 2024. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. There's no motions wrapped up in there anywhere.
Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Oh, sure, that's the regular public minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. This is the one I was thinking about. Oh, okay. We got a, could I get a motion to adopt special public council minutes, February 26th, please?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. Thank you very much. Conflict of interest, there's a sheet banging around there. Have a look at it. If something comes up that you're in a conflict, raise it please at the time. Alrighty. Proclamations, presentations, question and answer. We have a proclamation for Easter Seals Month. Deputy Mayor, take it away.
Easter Seals Month, whereas approximately 100,000 people of all ages in our province live with disabilities such as physical, sensory, cognitive, or other disabilities that present barriers to full participation in society. Whereas Easter Seals Newfoundland and Labrador is a charitable organization with a vision for a community where all people with disabilities live full, healthy, and active lives. A mission to engage, inspire, and maximize opportunities for people with disabilities of all ages by providing meaningful programs and services. Whereas Easter Seals Newfoundland recreation programs help those with disabilities explore what they can do through independence camps, art and music, therapy, and adaptive sports, promoting active and healthy, socially engaged lifestyles. Whereas Easter Seals Newfoundland offers employment and educational services to assist those with barriers to employment in successfully transitioning from home and school into adulthood and independence with a focus on preparing for obtaining and maintaining gainful employment. Whereas Easter Seals Newfoundland, I Can Too disability awareness program activities foster disability awareness and sensitivity and provide tools for accessibility and inclusion.
Therefore, with the support of the Council of Torbay, I sign this proclamation and declare the month of March in 2024 to be observed throughout the town of Torbay as Easter Seals Month. I call upon all citizens of the town to support this worthy charitable organization and the people of all ages and all disabilities it serves. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. We have a presentation here from Windy Heights Farms. And let's see here. You can get up and you can have the floor for,
Am I able to?
are we
It's
able
okay,
to?
I can talk really good.
If we had known that you had that prior, maybe we could have had it set up for you, but
No worries.
if you have it, you can send it to us and we
Yeah.
can look at it after.
Yes.
All right.
So my name is Anita Walsh, and my husband Gerard, and our son, also Gerard. We run Windy Heights Farm. We've had it for 5.5 years, and prior to that, we had a store in Flat Rock. We've been in the area for 25 years, and so we're quite familiar with the area. When we bought the farm, it was a large piece of land that has no fencing whatsoever, and the previous owner enjoyed snowmobiling and allowed snowmobilers on the farm. And it's adjacent to the watershed area, and it's adjacent to Crown land, and the majority of our farming is on Crown lease land. For the 5.5 years that we've owned the farm, we've said we will be having animals, we will be putting up fences, you're not allowed to trespass on the farm. There's many reasons to that. There is insurance liability, there is dangers on the farm, there are pitfalls, there is rebar sticking out different spots, there's pieces of old fencing, so there's a danger to people coming on the farm, and there's a danger to our animals. There is an awful lot of damage that is done by snowmobile tracks. So we've had this occurring summer and winter, worse in the winter time with the snowmobiles. And what happens is the snow gets compacted and the snow penetrates the soil, and it takes July, August before that penetration alleviates enough to have any growth on it. And in the summertime, if it's quads, then it rips up the soil, and we've lost whole fields of hay. So as we progressed, we started growing our own vegetables, we started increasing our livestock, and we're not the standardized farm where you have hundreds of animals in one barn. We use something called regenerative agriculture, and we actually utilize the animals to rejuvenate the soil. And the way you do that is you have to move them through different pastures. This, of course, requires fencing, and it requires gates, and it requires the movement of these animals throughout the fields. So because there was no fencing, and because fencing is god-awful expensive, we've used high-tensile wire and electrical wire, and that's been up for 2 years now. We put red tape, and we've put no trespassing signs forever and ever. And I should mention, the reason that I bring it to you is because it's the neighboring communities to the farm and the locals that are accessing these unmarked trails in order to get onto the farm, and our farm connects these trails. So anyways, we used high tensile wire, and so we started putting up large electrified fencing signs because we've started charging larger areas now with electrical. Before it used to be quite confined close to the barn. Now it's getting quite further away because our numbers are increasing in animals, so we now have bulls on the other side of these electrified fences, and people are saying, oh, why are you putting up electrified fences? And I keep saying, to keep the 1,000-pound bull in, right? And so we've had so many near accidents, and we haven't seen any injuries yet so far, but I won't even go into that. So what I see is a aside from the damage to the fields and aside from the damage to the fencing and the gates and the amount of signs that they've ripped down, we've started losing animals because when they rip past these newly born creatures, their mothers get so upset that they're pacing back and forth, that they've trampled 4 piglets so far this year. We've had one boar get out and get so upset that we've had to put him down. So right there, I'm talking about $7,000, $8,000 worth of our cost. That's besides the labor, that's beside the heartache. So we realize that the problem is complex. I'm not saying that it's going to be a quick fix, but what I'm saying is we can have a win-win situation if we can get all the stakeholders involved, which includes all the municipalities in the area, all the snowmobile associations and quad associations, all the landowners, right? And connect these trails that are already on Crown land that won't take much, but it takes someone in authority, because we don't have that authority. So the police are very willing to charge people if we can get them there, get them to stay there. We've had one instance where we identified a person and they were hesitant to lay charges, and we were hesitant to force it because he was a nice guy. He had his kid with him. He was being polite. We want to get the jackass that knocked down the gate, and we want to get this guy that killed the pig. We want to get those guys, but unfortunately we got this sucker, right? So we kind of backed off also. But what I'm saying is this is now escalated, and it's because our hands are tied. So we have gotten quite irate with the people that have come across, and it's amazing how people that have been running those trails for 30 years are always lost when they see us approaching them, right? And it's amazing how evasive they've become. So it's now escalated to the point where there are starting to be confrontations. And so what I'm saying, and I'm asking and begging for you guys, is that if you don't understand that we all have a part to play, because without the bylaws, we're allowing skidoos to be on the roadway, yet there's no authorized trails on the Northeast Avalon, but we have skidoos everywhere. I don't disagree with them having a place to ride the skidoos. It just can't be on our land, because we can't be paying, and they don't understand, Crown lease. I say, take away the word Crown. Just think of the word lease. If you lease something, you have title to it, right? But because they think it's Crown, some of it is because they don't understand. Some of it is because they don't want to change old ways. Some of it is just plain bloody ignorance. So what I'm saying is, if you really want to be self-sustaining and you really want to allow people to grow their own food, and you really want farmers in Newfoundland to be able to do that for you, you really need to help us protect our land and protect our farm, because we can't keep going like this. So I'm just, whatever you guys can do. I do have a petition started. It's got a little bit under 100 signatures right now. It's on change.org, and I'll send that to you. We understand that it's going to take a number of moving parts to work together. But I think it's a real win-win situation, because when we had a farm in Eastern Ontario, there was a trail system that quads and skidoos could use on alternating seasons, that they could run for 3 days without ever having to come back home again. And it actually allowed people to want to move to that area because they knew they had that trailway there. And everyone was so organized, and they had license plates, and if you did something wrong, one of the other skidooers would squeal on you and you'd be kicked off. And it worked like a dream. And it's a real tourist opportunity too. So I'm not saying people shouldn't be allowed to skidoo. I'm just saying you can't skidoo on our fields. The insurance alone is enough to stagger you. Like, insurance companies don't want to insure farms. It's a high risk occupation. So any opportunity they can have to jack up the price or to pull my insurance, they'll use it. So for all those reasons, you know, help the farmer.
All right, there's a lot there to unpack.
Yeah.
So, what I will recommend you do, Ann has took some notes there. Please forward us along your presentation so
Yeah.
we can have it. We can do some public awareness posts
Yeah.
on our website and our social media. I can also, once I get your information, I can typically quarterly we've been doing it, but we have meetings of the mayors and deputy mayors, excuse me, from our region, and we can add that to our next agenda.
Yes,
Because
thank
it's not
you.
gonna go away like tomorrow.
It's not, and I don't intend it to, and the snow is
Right.
dissipating now, so that's helpful to us.
Yeah.
And I have a meeting with PCSP tomorrow at the Planning and Development. I plan to meet with Flat Rock, Torah, and Pooch Cove and Balling as well.
Okay.
And so I do understand that, number one, it's getting the message out there. There's not much trail that needs to be cut to go around the property to connect the trails, but it definitely needs signage. Because if people understand, you just have to make a left-hand turn here and a right-hand turn there, and then you won't, right? The Doppler radar, which is adjacent to our land, they're starting to work with us, so they're changing their gateways now. So they've already got a request for proposal for getting their gateway changed. And so we're trying to coordinate with everyone. But if there's signage, 99.9% of the people are law-abiding. They will take a road wherever they're directed to in order to enjoy their snowmobile, right? It's a costly investment, so they should have a right.
Right, and I think to your point, I know in Bay Roberts, in particular, Corner Brook,
Yeah,
they have snowmobile and ATV associations.
yeah, I've reached out. They haven't responded
Right,
yet.
it's groups of people that they
Yeah.
can deal with as the town council to be able to implement trails and changes and everything. But unfortunately for us, we don't have anything like that here.
No,
because, you know,
no.
We don't have those destination type trails that they have in those other places.
Exactly, but it doesn't take much because there's a whole trail system that we are already aware of, and some that lead right to someone's backyard, but we'll ignore those, right? But there is an awful lot of trails that already connect all the way from Torbay, Pooch Cove, right? Well, and it's a big, beautiful circle.
Yeah.
And if we just go around, especially the agricultural and sensitive areas, like, it's gonna be safer for everybody, and no one's gonna be damaging anything that is, you know, it's sustaining our livelihood, right? So, and I keep saying, listen, boy, if you wanna pay my mortgage, you go ahead and you can rip over the fields, right? But,
And to your point, right, people, they may not be able to distinguish between
correct,
your property and the property where that big ball is.
right?
I've been up there, I know exactly what it's like.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah. So just to let you know, all the fields by the big ball, that's us. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Thanks. All right, anybody have any questions, comments?
I
Go
just-
ahead, Ralph.
I want to make a comment, you know, because quads and snowmobiles are all over the place. You know, they're in my backyard and everybody's backyard. And they're roaring 3 o'clock in the morning out Torbay Road from Flat Rock, Pooch Cove, the whole works of them. But I just want to make the point that I attended some of we're doing our town plan right now. It's up for review. And I attended the meeting with Julia has scheduled. And it was an open public meeting, and some of the people there, you know, they're really concerned about the town expanding, you know, with residential areas especially. And in one group, some of them spoke up and said, you know, all we want is to protect our trails for quads and skidoos. They didn't give a hoot about anything else. But it's you know, for people that are entrenched in it, you know, they've lived in the community and that's all they do in the winter, you know. But I think, you know, at some point we got to do, you know, trails for these types of, you know, whatever. And just try to keep them away from everybody else. If they'll cooperate, that's gonna be it.
See, I think because of the education bit, and I think that, I don't think it would take much for them because they want to do something. If you still allow them to do that, something that they really enjoy, and just tweak them a little bit, I
Yeah,
think it's gonna be a lot easier, which is why it came this way, because there's no way it's gonna work if you're gonna say stop. It's not.
Yeah, they
Right?
won't listen, no.
No, but it won't take much to give them that trail.
Yeah.
Good. All right, thank you. All right. Mayor's report. Just got the birthdays here for March. Evan Vokey, Infrastructure and Public Works. Stacy Hannums, Recreation Community Services. Chelsea Tapper, Recreation and Community Services. And Deputy Mary Torn Goss, Deputy Mayor on the council.
Get that in there.
Happy birthday, everybody. I hope you have a safe and happy birthday. The other thing I was just gonna touch on is this past Friday and Saturday, I went to Clarendale for the Eastern Avalon Regional Meeting. It was our first M&L regional meeting for our area since the pandemic, in-person one. And it was pretty well attended. I think we had 50 some odd delegates there. The room was, it was a perfect size. It was a great venue to have those type of conversations of the things that we were talking about with the new municipal legislation coming out. We had a presentation from CBDC. We had questions and great discussion about the new code of conduct and the pitfalls and benefits to that. Mostly pitfalls people are talking about that they're running into, and they're really concerned that going forward, there's going to be a potential there for people to be discouraged, actually, from running for council because of the ease, I guess, and the low bar for people to put in complaints, and it doesn't have to be members of any member of the public can put in a complaint against a member of council for a potential conflict of interest, for instance, that where there may be no conflict, or it's just their own opinion that you're in a conflict for whatever reason. And this is really causing a lot of problems. I was talking to one councillor from down around the Bonavista Peninsula who has 9 conflict of interest accusations against him right now from members of the public. And so it takes time to go through that. It costs a lot of money to have them investigated, because when you're dealing with members of council, of course you need to have an independent third-party outside investigator. And you know, I think, and my advice that I gave a lot of those people, and I know Catherine Welborn's here, and I know she's going to agree with me, is that my advice to them is to put as much information that you're doing out to the public in your public council package. Put it all out there, everything, like we do. And then people can go and look it up, and hopefully, and that was another thing that was brought up, was the amount of money and time that staff are spending on ATIP requests. They're being ATIP'd out the yin-yang, and if you got a part-time clerk that only comes into the office 2 days a week, and she's spending almost all of her time doing, or his time, doing ATIP requests, a lot of work to ATIP, isn't it, Ann? It's a lot of work, you know, and for those people, I say put everything there. If people want to go, tell them to go first, look at the website and find out if it's there or not, and or come into the office and look through your minutes or whatever you want to do. Anything to save the time of our staff having to waste their time, excuse me, waste their time, a lot of times trying to fulfill what I would consider, or many would consider, frivolous ATIP requests just for something to do. People are bored, but I know that ATIP is required and necessary because council should be open and transparent to the things that we're doing. So the more that you try and do that, the less that it's gonna cost you money for these ATIP requests. And, you know, you're still gonna get them, but hopefully they'd be fewer and far between. No council is perfect. I haven't met one yet, but, you know, we strive to do what it is that we could do in terms of that. What else did we do? We had a good presentation from Eastern Regional Service Board. And while the presentation was going on, I did email the Director of Public Works to find out what is the total cost of our waste management contract. And he tells me that it's up this summer. So I told Steve Tessier and the other members of the Eastern Regional Service Board to reach out to us and see what they offer and compare to what our local contractors are offering, and see if the price is comparable or what. We have to go through a competitive bid process, and you know, if they can provide us with the service that we want, then you know, set up a meeting and lay it out for us what is what. I know that the average cost per house with them is around $200. I did some quick calculations in my head, and it came out roughly to what we're paying now. It might be a little more, but it depends what you're comparing it to, right? Are you comparing apples and apples or not? So that was interesting. Other thing that came up was the requirement that's coming up from the provincial government. This doesn't apply to us, but you might hear it around if you go to Northeast Avalon Joint Council or you go to some other meeting. But I think that the government is phasing out the poll tax and requiring municipalities that are on poll tax to go to assessments. And in a lot of smaller towns, they have a big concern over that because they feel they collect more money through poll tax in a more equitable way than they will with assessments. I'm not exactly sure how it all works, but I know that, for instance, for my house, if I was paying poll tax, I'd have to pay 4 poll taxes, one for each of my children and one for myself and my wife. So they figure it's fairer, but I don't know. I mean, the government is making that decision, so it's kind of out of our hands. Not much we can do about it. What else did we talk about? I think there was other stuff talked about, but I can't remember it now off the top of my head. We did have a trivia night on Friday night. Our team didn't do too good. We finished tied for, I said second last, but I guess it was last. But stick to darts, yeah. But it was a lot of fun and good opportunity to meet some people, in particular from the smaller towns around our region, because a lot of those people don't typically go to symposium or to convention, the larger meetings, simply because of the cost. It's not, you know, it's prohibitive, but they do get to go to these, and it's a real eye opener for someone from a larger town like us, where we have lots of qualified staff and, you know, modern policies and all these things, to when you go and talk to people that you know, they're struggling to get one member of council to sit on a committee, but with the new act that's coming in, you're required to have 2. So now they're wondering how they're going to be able to get committees if you got to have 2 people. So there's a lot of things that I think that we take for granted that we're able to do, that you know, it's a real struggle for some of those smaller towns out around there that are working on those. And it was really good for me, because most of the meetings I go to are with the large urban caucus that I'm chair of with M&L, and we don't hear those type of things, right? We hear more stuff about policing and fire services and all these things more on a larger scale, I guess. A lot of those little topics, we don't even talk about them. So it's good. All right, any questions about any of that? Perfect. Business Rising report. Still there, it's still 12 pages. We're still working on it, shortening it out, I would assume. So, do anybody have anything in particular on that they want to talk about? Perfect. Correspondence, we have a correspondence here from Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. It's a circular year-end claims for municipal infrastructure programs. Forward that on to, I guess, Public Works and Finance. Have a look at. I'm sure they already got it. And we have a correspondence here from Municipal Assessment Agency talking about a temporary relocation of their office while renovations are going on. It's all right to know, I guess, if you're planning on going in there. I'm not planning on going in there. Any questions on any of that? No? Very good. All right, we got a committee of the whole minutes here for February 26th. I'm just looking through here to see if there's any motions in there. There is not. Could I get a motion to adopt those, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Committees of Council, Planning, Land Use and Development. Councillor Pollard, take it away, buddy.
Thank you, Worship. Just wanted to offer Ann and Jared a chance to escape if they wanted to at this point in time, but you're quite welcome to stay. Catherine, you gotta stay. You just-
All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Good night.
I'll email that.
Wait, say,
Bye.
I'm really impressed with your holiness.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank
I've been
you.
to a few, and this is really impressive. Thanks.
Yeah, you actually get shit done.
I didn't want to say that.
She said that in the way she went.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Perfect. We always like compliment about us getting this shit done.
They didn't get to the end yet, so they just left early. Your Worship, right, just in order to go through the report, I'm going to leave number 1 till last.
Okay.
Just because I got the way I have to maneuver.
Sure.
So I'll go to item number 2. It's 1669 Torbay Road Amendment. We have a request to change the zoning from residential subdivision area to residential infill for a proposed development. So the motion here is, although the information, obviously the development information not in yet is for the change of the zoning so that it would allow potential for a development to go there. The motion to proceed with preparation of draft amendment documents and the associated public consultation process for proposed rezoning of the properties of 1669 Torbay Road and 15B Tanton View Lane from the RSA land use zone to the RI land use zone. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Go ahead.
No, I just want to make a comment. We're hoping that this will lead to some more diversified housing, finally in Torbay, because the more we have, the better. And I think this, again, is a huge property, and, you know, it may never be developed, but for now, we're taking this step, right?
Okay, and anybody else? Just for the public's information, I guess. RSA zone is residential subdivision area. So it was designated for that type of development, and we're just swapping it to residential subdivision infill so that we can actually do the development, because you can't develop on RSA. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Worship. The next item is a referral from the town of Paradise and has to do with a boundary adjustment between Paradise and Portugal Coast St. Phillips. I know this was on the go for quite some time. So the motion is to issue a letter of response to the town of Paradise as per attached background report in response to their referral on the St. John's Urban Regional Plan Amendment Number 1, 2024, and associated municipal boundary adjustment along the Portugal Coast St. Phillips boundary, citing no objection. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next motion to accept permit listings for the week ending February 29th, 2024 as tabled. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried.
And then we'll roll back up to number 1. The first item deals with the 45-unit residential development discretionary use in the mixed development use zone at 1068 Torbay Road. So I'm going to read out the motion, and then if someone seconds it, we can get to the floor for discussion, and I can provide some more information. So the motion to conditionally approve application C 2023-124 for proposed up to 45-unit residential development apartment use at 1068 Torbay Road in accordance with Regulation 33 and 90 of the Torbay Development Regulations pertaining to discretionary uses, and the development meeting the more detailed conditions outlined in associated background report prior to any building permits being issued. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments?
Okay, Your Worship, I just wanted to, there's been a fair bit of information there on this. I'm just waiting, I'm going to refer everybody to the item itself under 722, the minutes and background report.
The 132 pages you're
The
talking about?
130, exactly, the 132 pages. So it deals with a 45 unit, the proposed 5 building development, 9 units in each building. Through the process, the property, the southern section that bounds the river are subject to a conservation area. Just so you know that. We sent it out to Torbay Environment Advisory Committee, Provincial Water Resources, Transportation Infrastructure, Provincial Environment Assessment Division, Town Engineers, and the Volunteer Fire Department for their comments. We also received 12 responses from Torbay residents and 26 responses, plus a 3-page petition from Logie Bay Middle Cove, Outer Cove. So what we had done as committee is we had requested that there be a summary done of the main concerns and how they're being addressed overall. So it just loaded right now, so bear with me 1 second, please.
This is one we have here.
So I'm going to refer to page 5 of 132. So there's a summary of the responses that we received, and I put this out there because we did have a substantial feedback from this, and we had some inquiries from Logie Bay Middle Cove, Outer Cove as well, and we agreed that we would keep them in the loop as we move forward in terms of the progress. So summary of the responses that received by area property owners are as follows. Obviously, there is flooding concerns over the burden of the current storm drainage. Effect on area wells, recharge rates reduced significantly. Multiple requests for an environmental assessment, concerns for possible septic contamination for downstream properties, concerns for high density and no fire hydrants in the area, effect on property values, traffic increase for the area, and concerns for the wildlife in the area. So on that, we're going to take you to page 9. And there's a table there. So the traffic concerns and traffic study needed, the jurisdiction over access on the Torbay Road is with the Provincial Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. And there's a conditional letter of support from T&I for the proposed accesses on file with the town and attached background information. So TI has already looked at that from their perspective, and until they get a final document in their hand, they're okay with it at this point in time, let's put it that way. So chances are that it will be fine based on what they do. Well, water risk concerns and septic system. Obviously, we don't have jurisdiction over it, but that rests with the Department of Environment and Conservation Water Resources Division. So they will require that they obtain a non-domestic well permit, and requires water quality and aquifer testing based on the intended use and requirements laid out by the Water Resources Division and the Water Resources Act prior to Water Resources being able to consider issuance of a permit. So at this point in time, we realize that we're issuing a conditional approval based on all these items that need to be taken into account. And we had a lot of questions on these things. And realizing that the towns, or no town has control over the water resources nor the approval process for septics, then that goes to other departments, and we have referred that to these departments. And I'm saying a lot of this now so people understand what the process is, and the fact that there's a conditional approval doesn't mean that it's card plants right now, away you go. There's a lot of work that still has to be done. Stormwater risk. The town on Torbay is well aware of the climate change and storm runoff occurrences. We have a zero net runoff requirement in effect through its development regulations and the subdivision engineering guidelines. The provision of a stormwater detention system is required, which is designed to ensure that post-development conditions do not exceed runoff for a 1 to 100 year 24-hour storm. The drawings for design obviously must be stamped, so the civil engineer and subsequently our town engineer will review those. And the fact that it's potentially in a floodplain at some point, the proponent has to delineate the floodplain in the area with the model runoff, and the stormwater management area cannot be located in the floodplain. The request for environmental assessment, we already sent that to the environment, and EA advised the town that the proposal does not require registration under the Environmental Assessment Act. As a matter of fact, I think some commentary, and Julie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was that the aquifer testing actually does some more intense work associated with any water issues than the environmental assessment would done. I know the environmental assessment does more than just the water side of things as well, but they did look at it already. Fire safety, as I said, it was referred to the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department, and they were okay with it, but just so everyone knows, based on the flows from potential wells, the proponents plan on providing underground water storage tanks, so that will take the initial demand capacity for however many liters, 800 liters or 1,000 liters of water to be stored, so that will take the first, should something happen from a fire perspective, then you're taking the initial pressure from the tank, and it'll be subsequently filled by the wells then after that. So those items have been taken into account. And then on page, bottom of page 11, top of page 12, is the details that we would actually require for the, obviously the approval from Water Resources Division, Provincial Transportation Access, Stormwater Calculations, Provincial Water Resources Approval, Submission of Detailed Engineering Drawings, signed by a professional, provision of floodplain analysis, all requirements as per town engineer, service animal approvals, Torbay Volunteer Fire Department approval, provisional lighting plan for review. They had to pay all the standard fees, service levies, assessments applicable, signing the multiple buildings on a lot agreement, the granting of an access easement along the southern boundary of the shore that lands further to the east are not landlocked, and a potential access may be considered in the future. Copy of deeds, obviously, location certificates for the buildings, Canada Post and Newfoundland Power approval, and the development requirements of the Torbay development regulations, etc., and the building codes. So that's my blurb. If anybody has any questions, feel free. So I think that's pretty open and transparent in terms of the amount of work that is done and what needs to be done and where we are in process with that particular 45-unit development. But from a committee perspective, we see it as something that would be quite beneficial to the town of Torbay in terms of its economic growth and potential population increases. As we know, we don't have any access to any great amounts of water yet, which hopefully we'll get that moving soon too. But.
Any other comment or questions? Go ahead.
Since I'm on that committee, I'll second what Tony just outlined. There's a lot of homework yet to be done on this, and it is just an approval in principle. So, we're spending a lot of time on this now already, and there's a lot of research after being done thanks to Julia and her staff. So, again, as Tony mentioned, it's another example of somewhere we haven't been before. I don't think so anyway as a town, these kinds of developments. And again, the main reason that, I look at these types, and myself and Mary were over to the coffee house this morning, and we were talking to a longtime resident who has moved out because he had nowhere to go in town, Senior person, he Torbay, he comes back every day to Torbay, and unfortunately he had to move to St. John's. So that's another example that I call the Jack Hogan examples. Our Jack had to move out. He's a long time business person. So, that's why I think we got to take these seriously and do whatever we can to, you know, abide by the rules, not stretch anything by any means, but there's a lot of T's to cross and everything else. So now, you know, I'd like to see this take this step. It's just a step to get it going and see where we can, you know, finalize or whatever.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I'll just jump in there. Personally, I'm pretty excited that a developer and a landowner would want to do this kind of project in Torbay. Again, as everybody knows, we're trying to make this town better and be able to provide more accommodations and homes for people in our area. The only thing, and I'm glad we have to, not jump through hoops, but we want to make sure that's done properly, and that anybody in the surrounding area, especially with bigger projects, I'm not so concerned about septic, that kind of stuff, and water runoff. I think that can be taken care of. You wonder about wells and these kind of things, but with the due diligence that has to be done, I'm very confident that we will be able to at least get the full picture before we, go forward with this project. But I'm very excited that something of this nature is coming, because we really do need some more housing in our beautiful town.
Anyone else? Let's take a minute. I just want to say a couple things. And I know that the concerns that people sent in, a lot of it has to do with water and wastewater management. But I will say this, there is no town in this province that has done more work around wastewater and water management and water tables and storm water management and floodplain analysis and all these things than what we have done. Mm-hmm. We got studies up the yin-yang that we've done because we were required to do it because of the contamination we have up at the airport. We did an entire town, a groundwater flow model for our town to look at well distribution, how much drawdown it goes, where does it draw down. A lot of the results that came back from that, and we won an award for that, by the way, from the engineering people, because it was the first one of its kind in the province. And I'm pretty proud of that. It's those studies and all that work and all that money that we spent that would allow us to be able to take on a project like this and look at it and from an informed position and not just hoping. We have and to Councillor Tapper's point, it's a new type of development for us. It is, but it isn't, because we have a 9-unit building on Piperstock Hill, right in the middle of a residential area, with one single well and one septic field that services that 9 units. And that is that's not even on an acre of land. There might be 3/4 of an acre up there, because it was a single family dwelling at the point before that went there. So we know that technology is there, it works, and if this was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there's no way that you could probably do it, because the septic systems designs, the technology wasn't as advanced as it is now to be able to do these things. And there's no way that we're going to approve something that is going to have a negative effect on those people in that area. We're going to make sure that we follow all the rules, we take whatever precautions that we need to. And as Councillor Pollard said, this is not approved now. This is approval in principle to move forward to get these other things done. And then when it comes time to start issuing permits, we will have done our due diligence, and the developer will have done theirs, and hopefully the information that we provide to the residents in our town and those in Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove, and the council will be satisfactory, and they will see that we did our due diligence and our hard work to protect everybody. And with that, I will call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
So, my report, Your Worship.
And that is that. All right. Thank you, sir. Admin and finance. What's this? Motion. Oh, yeah, okay. Carry on. Councillor Manning.
Okay, I guess I'll do the motion there first.
Okay.
And it's a motion required for committees of council and / Jack Byrne Regional Council representatives. Brief information, the information is there, so I'll just go to the motion. Resolve that further to motion RES-341-2021 and motion RES-169-2022, and as per Section 25 of the Municipalities Act 1999, that the town of Torbay adopt the revised council standing committee structure and meeting schedule effective March the 1st, or 4th, 2024. Resolve that the town of Torbay appoint councillors oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, two motions.
First motion,
Okay. Move.
yeah.
Second.
Second, but I'd like to put
Questions?
an amendment in there because it's not the meeting schedule effective. The schedule that's attached to that is the old schedule.
Right, so to that point, I talked to Ann about this earlier.
Okay.
That schedule was there to accommodate the people that were on those committees before. So going forward now, this week, once the committees are adopted, you guys go away, come up with a schedule that works for you, and then we'll make an amendment later on to change the schedule. And the only reason I say that is because when the new act comes out, committees, meetings are gonna be open to the public. So we're gonna have to have a schedule there so people in the public know when these meetings are taking place.
Okay.
But that's not, we don't need to worry about that yet because that's not till next
Yeah,
fall.
because realistically, the schedules of those, depending on what's happening,
Right.
are going to change
Yeah.
from one day to another. So to put that motion in, to me, it's not required, nor does it meet our needs right now. Worry about the other part later.
Okay.
So that last part of that, I don't
Sure.
think
So we
that
make a
that should
friendly
be part of
amendment,
it, yeah.
and just, we'll stop at, committee structure.
Yes.
And then remove the end meeting schedule part.
Yeah.
And then once we get the schedules, we do have to have a specific schedule in mind. We'll figure it out,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
Most importantly, we get our committees in place
Yes.
and allow you guys to go meet. All right, so everybody,
So we got to vote on
that was a friendly amendment,
it. Okay,
so
so moved? Or what, do I have to read it again?
there's a friendly amendment. We can just go ahead and vote on it as it is, as amended.
Okay, so moved.
Yep.
All right,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried?
okay. Got through that one.
Yep.
Next motion. Resolve that the town of Torbay appoint councillors Rhonda Manning and Tony Pollard as council representatives to the Jack Byrne Regional Sports and Entertainment Centre Board of Directors. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? I would say, Ward, thank you for the 2 years that you spent on the Jack Byrne Regional Board.
Thank you, sir.
And Rhonda, thank you for stepping up to do it. And Tony, thank you for continuing to serve on that board of directors and bringing all this exciting information back to council. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. And I'll just bring this up now. So our minutes are there from our last meeting, which was Wednesday, February 28th. And myself and Deputy Mayor, Mary Thorne-Goss, and Director of Human Resources, Mark Whalen, had the meeting. It's pretty much, well, certainly it's all there in the minutes, recruitment and selection. We're going through the process of filling position of Director of Corporate Services. And there's further update will be provided to council once we get the shortlisted candidates, which is coming this week, 4th to the 8th. And the next one was the Accounts Payable and Procurement Administrator. And we're conducting interviews on the week of the 48th for that also. And Corporate Services Administrator, Corporate Services, Desiree Finlay has accepted the position and started on Thursday, 29th of February. Welcome aboard. And we have, the next one is the Capital Asset Mapping Technologist. And we're going through the process there. Where are we to? The next steps, well, going through the selection process there. And Administrative Assistant for Planning and Development. The aim is to have the position staffed before March the 19th, so we're working through that process now. And Fire Prevention Officer, they once again going through the process, and a further update will be available to all members of council. Policies and procedures, they're listed there. They are being worked on as we speak. And under our items, all those are all being worked on as we get through all the processes.
Okay, perfect. Does anybody have any questions about any of those items? All right, thank you, Councillor Manning.
Thank you.
All right, corporate services. Next on my list, I think. Yep. Councillor Tapper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we'll just cover document 1 first for our report. We met on March the 4th. So I'll read through. Payroll, a regular payroll for 57 employees for the 2-week period ended February 28, 2024, totaling $131,215.17. Accounts payable for the 2-week period ended February 28, 2024. Invoices in the amount of $168,650.116 were processed. So we have 3 invoices for council approval, operating invoices totaling $128,557.11. Invoice number, no, I don't have to read through them.
No, just
No.
move that.
So moved.
There you go.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There's, I think, 1 motion there, or 2. Yeah, just a 1. Northeast Eagles F under 11 Tier 1 hockey team donation request. So a donation request was received from Northeast Eagles female under 11 Tier 1 hockey team to assist with the cost of traveling and participating in the provincial tournament being held in Gander, NL, during the month of March. A substantial number of players in this team are from the town of Torbay. The committee discussed the town's continued support of young athletes from the town in such events. So in accordance with the town's donation policy, the committee recommends a donation of $200 to the Northeast Eagles female under 11 Tier 1 hockey team to assist with the cost of traveling and participating in the provincial tournament. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? Wish them luck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I believe that's it, but I just wanted to thank the Director of HR, he's wearing a few hats these days, for coming through and getting the documents prepared and everything, so thanks, Mark.
He's growing right into this role there.
If I could, Mr. Mayor.
Say we're lucky to have him,
would-
but I don't want to blow his head off.
I'd like to thank Councillor Tapper for being the chair of this committee, along with myself over the last couple of years. It's been a pleasure to deal with yourself and Norm, who's now moved on to the provincial government. So I'd just like to say thanks, and I appreciate your time
you.
and your mentorship.
All right, we'll see now next meeting how.
Yes. The pressure's on.
All right, I second that. Where am I? Economic Development and Tourism. Councillor Manning,
Me again.
you got your motions in there?
No motions, no.
Does anybody have any questions on anything in that report?
And it's all information there. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
Councillor
just
Pepper.
want to mention that both myself and Councillor Manning attended the meet
Yes,
the
the
chamber.
Meet the chamber.
That was on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, I think.
But again, the room was full from people, you know, throughout St. Philip's, Torbay, and other places as well. Quite interesting, and it seemed like it was kind of a unanimous support for the idea of doing a regional chamber. And you know, there was a lot of good discussion on it and comments.
Yeah.
And like I stood and spoke, and because I really didn't realize, you know, what this was all about. And some of the people there were, you know, deeply involved in it. And so hopefully it's going to, you know, take a little bit more time to get people together and you know, and make this happen.
I actually heard about it out in Clarendon. Rob Nolan was here, the CEO of Municipalities Newfoundland, Labrador. And he really enjoyed it, and he got a lot out of it, and says that, you know, it looks promising, so.
Yeah, for sure.
And so there's from an impartial person that's not from our town, looking at that.
Yeah.
And that's how I walked away from it too. I found it, one, definitely informative for me personally, and the interest here and the dialogue and conversation was really good. And like you said, Councillor Tapper, it seems to be a really good direction to be looking forward to and to be involved with, for sure. So for all the organisation of that, put a thank you out to it.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments, sir? I'll just, item number 3 there, Business View magazine article.
Yes.
So I'll be doing my interview with them tomorrow. And I know that Kerry has been working on that and providing them with the information they need for our businesses to
Yep.
purchase sponsorship in that article, and hopefully they will. It'll be a good opportunity, as always, whenever we get a chance to talk about our town and put us on some kind of map, some kind of magazine, it's a good one. So
Yeah.
I'll look forward to it tomorrow. Hopefully they lets me say whatever the hell I want, but you know, sometimes they don't. That don't stop. All right.
Well, before we end, I just wanted to point out number 6 too. That's this is something I'm going to say new since I've been on the committee, but it's generated my interest greatly, and it's rainbow registered, and the information is there. But this is a good opportunity too to make the community more inclusive and have some of the businesses or all of them part of this program that's highlighted there. So hopefully that takes off and works well.
You know,
Thank you.
I think that is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you look at what's going on across the country with people banning pride flags,
Yeah.
banning sidewalks and crosswalks or whatever the hell that they're doing, I'm glad that our town is being a leader when
Yeah.
it comes to inclusiveness, and hopefully, well, as long as I'm sure this group around this table is here and our staff, that we're going to remain that way.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's, I think it's disgraceful that some of the things are happening, but I'm proud that we do the things that we do for the people in our community and for the people in the surrounding communities. If you don't feel welcome in your town, come over here.
Hop on up.
We'll roll at the back for you. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Some things don't get me that riled up, but this is one of them that does. All right, history, heritage, culture, and arts. Who's the chair of that? I think it's the deputy mayor, isn't it?
Yeah, for tonight.
Okay.
Ralph. There's no motions in there, so it's the report that Noah prepared for the Director of Economic Development.
Okay.
And so it's all self-explanatory. It's a great report, but rather than reading down over it all, if anybody's got any questions or anything in there?
I got a comment, but I don't know if I see it in this report. But I will say this. It's pretty exciting to have Catherine Wellburn's art being displayed in our museum and our gallery here in the town of Torbay. I guess there's no place in Portrait Cove, St. Philip's to put it on. Catherine, I thank you for doing that, and that is what that place is for. It's for people who do art and culture and those type things, to be able to put their items on display so people can come in and see them. And I congratulate you on that, and I thank you for it.
We charge admission for that?
What?
Pretty pricey, though.
Commission? No.
Admission, not commission.
Could I make just
Go
one
ahead.
comment?
Yeah.
And again, I was up looking at her exhibit, and it was great to see. And I didn't realize she had so much talent like that, so it was good to see. But to comment, and I want to thank you, Mayor, for attending an event there last Saturday evening. The Hall of Fame performers were inducted, first annual anyway. And again, it was another unique event for the History House. And like I mentioned, it's going to be an annual thing, but it was a jam-packed house. And you spoke, and it was good to hear what you said. But you know, for people, there's a lot of different events up there that are attracting a lot of people. So thank you.
That's it. All right.
So I was going to ask you to elaborate on that because you were there, so if you want to congratulate the people that received.
Yeah, well, there was four, actually. There were two former deceased people. No, I shouldn't say former deceased, but deceased people.
They're now alive.
They were well-known fiddlers, fiddler Tom Goss and fiddler Tom Jennings. And then, so we had two Toms and we had two Ks who are still with us and very active, both of them in the community. Kay Sorensen, who was for years took the lead on a lot of the concerts and dinner theaters going back in the 70s and 80s and beyond. And of course, Kay Malloy, who's still, you know, in the church choir. She's in the choral group. She's 92 years old and just as active as ever. So, you know, both of those people were really appreciative of the recognition they got, and thank God they're still going to, you know, be active, I think, and continue on for a long time to come.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that in my go-around, but I'll still talk about it.
Oh, yeah, good.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Where am I? Infrastructure and Public Works, Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We met on Wednesday morning, May 15. There are no motions there. I just want to give some brief updates. Under the safety lights for the fire department, remember last time or time before we did a motion to submit the grant application to accessible pedestrian for the accessible pedestrian signals. That grant has been submitted at the present time. We're still waiting for some information back on that. The specs and tender documents for the salt storage shed are now complete, so they're ready to post, so that should be going out soon, we hope.
Okay.
The sidewalk construction for phase 2, all the documents are with transportation and infrastructure for review, so we're just waiting on that before that comes back to us, and then that'll get posted. And other than that, I think that is that, unless somebody has any questions.
Just wanted to ask the question there, when you mentioned sidewalks, have we included the possibility of having parking spaces included down by the tap house?
It was denied by the department.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was gonna follow up with the minister if council was okay. See if I could get him to change his mind, and I'll do that.
Yes, because I was just wondering, because when we talked about this in the beginning, we said that that'd be a good idea, and make sure then that it went in the request.
Mm.
So,
I'm more of the mind to provide additional parking for our War Memorial site
yes,
and our rock garden on the wall there.
yes, because
As
the,
opposed to the tap house.
yes, no, because I'm looking at it with the memorial service there twice a year, that it's going to be hard to find parking for anyone, and each year, especially November 11th,
Yep.
there's an increase, and with the other business there, we're going to be the ones that's restricted in having parking there for anything, so, and the space is already there to just put, and really, when you look at having to cut out some of the new pavement, what that's being put down, to me, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
to be able to do that. So if possible, to follow up before anything gets further with having an RFP sent out.
Yeah. So I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
With, Minister Abbott,
Yes,
and see what he thinks. He's
good.
I really find him good, that he's
Yeah.
easy, you communicate with him, he gets back to you.
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
quickly.
I found him really good to deal
You
with.
might not always like the answer, but at least they get one.
Yes, and he checks into it, like he does what he says he's going to do.
Yeah. I do have one comment, Tony, and it's probably in relation to the Great Pond water. And it has to do with the fact that we were denied for our Housing Accelerator Fund application. And when I saw that email for that, it really, really, really kind of bugged me, right? Because part of that was for Great Pond, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
there was a slew of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, the federal government and the provincial government want us to be able to build more housing, more accessible type housing, more affordable type housing. We were one of 7 communities that applied, I think, from Newfoundland, Labrador. 7. Over 500 applications were received for that, and only 7 for our province. I know that we were denied. I heard that Portrait Coast and Phillips were denied for theirs, so there's 2. So only 5 applications from our province would get approved. Like, that's sickening, really, when you think about it, for such a large fund, and to do things in our town with regards to clean drinking water that we don't have an abundance of to provide people. And the other part about that, and we talked about this in Clarenville, you cannot have a discussion about housing if you don't also talk about public transportation. They go hand in hand. We are never going to be able to get any kind of a reasonable public transportation in this town unless we have diversified type housing with young people who need to travel to go to work, or seniors who want to be able to travel throughout the town to go to the doctor, go to the store, go whatever, and have some kind of reliable, affordable public transit system that they can get on. So I just feel that towns our size, in the predicament that we are, because we're close to the city of St. John's, we just get overlooked for these big funds that the federal government is putting out. There's enough to turn your stomach. And every time I get an opportunity to talk to a federal MP or a minister, if I happen to see one somewhere, I tell them, I said, these programs you're doing are for Toronto and Montreal, they're no good to us down here. So they don't like it, but I don't care. Says it anyway.
Can I ask, you mentioned there were 7 who applied from Newfoundland.
Yeah.
I only heard that 1 got money.
Right.
Do you know if the other 6 got any at all?
I don't know.
Because that was a big wad for that 1.
Yeah, right, so we could follow up on that, but I just heard in Clarenville that they said there was very little uptake from Newfoundland and Labrador and the Housing Accelerator Fund. Only 7 applications were submitted. To me, that means if it was such a small uptake, they were concerned about not having enough applications from here, they should have all been friggin' approved.
Yeah.
None of them turned down, like.
Well,
what
we
the
have
hell?
very valid reasons to be
It is,
approved.
absolutely, you know, it just feels like every time you turn around, you get screwed from one level of government to another. Anyway, I know I'm not supposed to say that stuff out loud, but I don't care.
It's only been recorded.
I don't care, I'm saying it, and Catherine's gonna write it down, and she's gonna put it on paper, so everybody will know. Anyway, all right, I got nothing else to say about that. Where am I? Recreation and Community Services.
Councillor Goss.
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
No,
No,
Oh, look.
that's Thor Goss, I'm Goss.
Oh, okay.
I know,
Councillor
confusing.
Gotta settle you down here tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just, again, the minutes are there, not a whole lot. The only thing I want to talk of that we had talked about that with Jen and Deputy Mayor Thorne Goss is inclusion services with the summer camp. You know, it's very important that the logistics of this were discussed, and the director's going to seek input from other municipalities and community groups, see what they're doing. Because you know, to be an upstanding community and a progressive community, we've got to make sure that we do whatever we can for our residents, and fully inclusional stuff like this is only something that we should do as a community. So I applaud the director for bringing that up, and it's just wanted to highlight that for you. But beyond that, if there's any other questions, by all means.
No, I don't have any other questions. That's excellent. I'm all about inclusion. All right, any other questions on any of that? No? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Liaison committees, Atlantic Bears Congress, no update. The meeting is in July 21st and 22nd, I think. I'll be heading out there. Intergovernmental affairs, don't really have any update. I guess the update, we've heard updates on various things in regards to the House Accelerator Fund. I'm going to make a note to reach out to the minister on that, being able to widen the road there on Torbay Road.
Excuse me, Your Worship, we should send a letter to MP and
Thompson.
the person who issued this letter as well, expressing our disappointment
Yeah.
overall, make sure, because I think that is very poor representation on behalf of town Torbay from their perspective in terms of looking at us. And the conversations we had, especially at meetings, and they realized the issue we have around water and where we're going with that. I think it's an opportunity was there, and you're going to find out now a little later on that there is probably millions or hundreds of millions of dollars left in this fund for that they won't know what to do with. You know, just like some of the other programs that people didn't apply to and can't allocate the money for, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Don't even get me started. This
No,
is
it's
what we
crazy.
went
It's
through with
crazy.
the,
It's because
gas tax
it's
fund.
too complicated in terms of the application process. Too many boxes to tick that you don't kick 10 out of 20, you don't get it when the 10 boxes mean nothing, probably. Anyway, don't get me started on it, 'cause
fair enough. Okay, so I got a couple of letters to write. I'll put them in my own words. Jack Byrne, we don't have any update there, do we?
no, we had the annual general meeting is this Thursday.
Okay. When you go to the meeting, next meeting, why don't we extend an invite to our community reps to come in and have a chat and meet with council? I don't know if we've had the opportunity to meet them yet. We
New
did,
ones?
but what?
New ones?
The new ones. And just see what they're all about and who they are, if you don't mind. Northeast Avalon Joint Council.
This meeting is next Wednesday.
Okay. Interesting about that, Mary, I talked to in Clarenville the weekend. I was only there for a day and a half, you'd think I was there for a week. But many of those towns, they get an awful lot out of the joint councils. They find that the joint council is their avenue to seek help and collaboration between the other towns around them. So I think it's really good, and that we should never underestimate the power or the influence of that those joint councils have, because they have them all over the province, right? And ours is probably the largest of them all. So I think it's great. And you're still going to be the rep, right, for that?
Until, I stayed on until October
Yeah, as chair.
as the
Or are
chair.
you going to continue as a rep?
Well, Councillor Tapper, because really
Yeah.
they're recommend to have two
Okay.
people, right? So
Right.
you're back on,
Yeah,
and you're coming back?
I'm gonna try to make more meetings too.
Yeah,
All right. And most of the meetings are virtual now, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, going forward, if we have to make any changes to any of that stuff, of representation for whatever, we'll do it. Oh,
Well, the other thing with that is that any councillor can attend
Yes.
at any point in time. It don't have to be the two, but there's only, if there's a motion or what have you, there's only two that can actually vote.
Right. Okay. RNC, I don't have any report. Torbay Volunteer Fire Department, Councilor Manning, anything to report there?
Nothing to report, minutes are there. I just want to point out that they've created a Facebook page for the 50th anniversary.
Okay.
And so anyone wanting to see what the events, upcoming events are and that, go to their Facebook page and have a look there. But other than that, they're doing what they're doing, they're training, they're answering, going, being where they need to be.
Excellent.
And just a great big thank you, as always, to each and every one.
Perfect. Thank you. I agree with you. Urban Municipality Committee, we are going to be meeting next month, April, trying to remember the days, 11th and 12th, I'm not sure what it is, but I'll be heading out. I think, Councillor Tepper, you're going to go too?
Yep.
That's in Pasadena. So it'll be great to have our town represented there again as an actual delegate to the meeting instead of just of me being the chair. And even though I'm always representing our town no matter what I'm doing or where I'm going, but it'd be nice to have somebody else there to speak on behalf of the town besides me as the chair when I really shouldn't be doing that. Anyway. All right. New business. Nobody else had any new business, only me. So no motion. So I just want to say thank you to council and staff and everybody for all the hard work you've been doing for the last couple of weeks since we met last and that you continue to do. I want to, in particular, thank everybody who was involved in the launch of the Arts and Culture Hall of Fame, Ralph, is that the name of it? Something like that.
Yeah.
At the History House on Saturday night. It was awesome to see so many people there. And when I was speaking, I talked a bit about the evolution of that place since we originally talked about purchasing the house from the priest, from the church. And that we had a vision for that place. We weren't sure really what it was yet, but we just knew that it could be good, and that we weren't going to allow that last heritage building in our town to get sold off and tore down or whatever. So nobody will ever be able to convince me that we made a wrong decision by getting that place. And anybody that's ever visited there, they see the value in it and the amount of work that has gone into it and the benefit that we're getting. And it does something that the common also does, but on a different level of a different type of people. There's people now coming to that History House from Lucky Bay, Mill Cove, Outer Cove, Pooch Cove, Balleen, St. John's, from all around to go there to attend events, to see shows, to look at artwork, to buy artwork, to see what it is that we're doing. Children getting programming done there. And for so many years, it was really difficult to get people from our surrounding towns to come to Torbay for an event. And we always joke, right? You want to see people from Torbay go to an event over in Outer Cove or go down in Flat Rock and you'll see them there. But I think that now we've done a lot of work in that area and promotion and everything else. But I think that we're starting to see the benefit and I guess the fruits of our labor and the hard work that we've all put in, our staff and our residents that volunteer and council too, to make that place a success and our community center a success and whatever else that we do here. We have to make sure that we put the same emphasis on it and make people aware this is here and come and use it, right? So anyway, I thought it was awesome. And that's the type of things that we need to do.
Can I just make one point in
Go ahead.
connection to that? Because myself and Tony are involved with Torbay Choral Group.
Yep.
And there's 57 people now in that group. And they are from everywhere. Everywhere, as far as away from Fairyland. There's one guy. Logie Bay, Flat Rock, Pooch Cove, to like. And, you know, that's a big group. And is well worthwhile. And they're very, you know, we've done concerts in the RC Church and the Anglican Church. And everybody seems united. It's a great, you know, group to be involved with. So, you know, it's going really well.
It's perfect, and that is one.
Oh, yeah.
That is a great example
Yeah.
of what we can do. All right, Q&A. Got any questions? No, you're good.
I have one question.
Sure.
It's a technical question. Is the letter saying that you didn't get the accelerated funding, and we talked
Is that in our, we'll put in next one?
Is it there?
No, it only came 29th of
Yeah,
February, I think.
we'll put it in our next one.
Oh, okay, because you did talk about it.
Yeah. What do you want?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, if
What,
you
what,
talked-
what?
If you talked about it, it's tabled, because it's, if you didn't get it in, Portugal Cove didn't get it, that's interesting.
I mean, it's-
Towns in the areas.
It's not a big secret, yes, I talked about it. If I have it, I'll forward it to you.
That'd be great.
It's not a big, it's not a,
I'd like to see what they have to say.
sure, it's not, it's very general letter.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even go through specifics.
Not really. I
No,
didn't think
not at
that
all.
they-
It was only short.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll just
Yeah.
interview that, then that's fine. I thought maybe they were gonna go through and give you hints for next time or something.
no, it's what we would commonly
You
refer.
got it there, Tony? We
I
all
was looking
got
for
it.
it, I saw the email.
It's what we commonly refer as to one of those PFO letters. All right,
Thanks, but no thanks.
Are we off here yet?
yeah. All right, our next public council meeting is scheduled to take place March 19th, 2024, right here in the Torbay Council Chambers. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Moved
Second.
and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried, thank you.